After seeing so many theories about the new teaser, I thought to myself, what is the worst, darkest, and craziest plot twist that could ever happen in Squid Game? I'm not talking about Gi-hun losing hope in humanity and becoming the next Frontman. I'm talking about truly dark scenarios, like In-ho actually killing his brother this time. That kind of darkness. Now, before we get started, I want to give a quick disclaimer. This is not a theory video. It's more of a thought experiment to see if we can come up with the saddest and most unexpected ending ever. I mean, Hwang Dong-hyuk did threaten us by saying we won't see the ending coming. So let's see if we can come up with something that would shock even the creator. Let's start this list with the reunion between the two brothers. We're all waiting for it, and it's inevitable. We saw Jun-ho finally reaching the island and finding his way inside the base. But this time, he doesn't sneak in quietly or carefully infiltrate the place. This time, he busts through the VIP door with an assault rifle, ready to take everyone down. The problem? He's alone, up against all the Squid Game guards. After a brutal fight, he eventually runs out of ammo and is captured. Once he's caught, he and his brother would finally have a conversation. In-ho explains to his younger brother why he chose this path, sharing his experience with his dying wife, the lack of donors and care for poor people, and how greed ultimately consumed humanity. Jun-ho dismisses all of that, telling his brother that everything that happened is his fault, that it was his decision to take the bribe and betray his morals. To prove that Jun-ho is wrong and that the frontman is right, In-ho makes him a prisoner and forces him to participate in next year's game. That's one scenario. Or another shocking scenario is one where Jun-ho and No-eul team up and make it all the way to the control room, only to be shot in the back by the frontman. Would this actually happen? Well, if Squid Game were to have a happy ending, then definitely not. Jun-ho is essential to exposing the organization because of his police experience and his connections. Once everyone sees that he was right, he could be promoted to captain and dedicate his life to stopping this kind of thing from ever happening again. Honestly, that's one of the more plausible endings. But what if Squid Game doesn't end? What if Gi-hun's plan to stop the games ultimately fails? That would mean Jun-ho doesn't survive the final confrontation. And what's more dramatic than having his own brother, who already spared him once, kill him this time? I don't think In-ho would spare Jun-ho again, even if he still has a soft spot for his little brother. Remember, In-ho's humanity is broken. He's given up completely. That's how deeply the games damaged him. Now, moving on to the next darkest possibility. Everyone dies, and Squid Game continues. Well, not everyone. There still has to be a winner. But what if it's not Gi-hun? Not someone we expect like Jun-hee? What if Namgyu, Minsu, or Hyunju wins? That would mean all of Gi-hun's efforts, and all the sacrifices made along the way were ultimately in vain. It would serve as a powerful metaphor, that no matter how hard you fight, you can't change the system. Maybe Hwang Dong-hyuk would use this as a bleak comparison to modern reality, where no matter how bad things get, the wealthy always manage to escape the consequences, while the working class continues to suffer. That would definitely align with Squid Game's core message. And here's an even darker twist. What if Gi-hun dies and the game isn't stopped, and in a shocking epilogue, we see his daughter playing the game? That would be wild. Maybe the VIPs were furious that Gi-hun nearly exposed everything, so they stripped him of all his money, framed him for embezzlement, and made it look like he committed suicide out of guilt. His ex-wife and daughter returned to Korea to attend his funeral, only to be detained by the authorities because his daughter is now responsible for repaying his massive debts. Years go by, and she's pushed to the edge, borrowing from everyone just to survive. Eventually, the only way she can pay off the debt and stay alive is to join the Squid Game herself. Or, if we get an American spin-off, maybe she ends up joining those games instead. Another very sad and twisted plot twist could involve Dae-ho. We're all expecting him to have a redemption arc, but what if he doesn't? What if he actually makes things worse by betraying his teammates once again, all to ensure his own survival? You know the saying, once a coward, always a coward. Dae-ho might not be able to overcome his nature and ends up selling out his team. If the tag game is a version of Hunter and Prey, as we've theorized, and the blue team has to find certain hidden rooms, what if Dae-ho gets caught, is moments away from being killed, and then strikes a deal to save himself by revealing his teammate's location? After the game ends, the guilt eats him alive, and he ends up taking his own life. Another dark, twisted plot could involve No-eul killing player 246. After going through so much to rescue him, player 246 finally wakes up, but panics when he sees a guard armed and standing over him in what looks like a morgue. In a panic, he finds a weapon and tries to attack No-eul in a desperate attempt to escape. The female guard has no choice but to kill Gi-hun. If she doesn't, she'll be the one who dies. Afterward, she swears to take care of his daughter, only to find out the girl died while the games were happening. We already know the son won't survive, and we've seen his mother crying her heart out. But in that same scene, we see her hair untied, meaning she used her hidden knife. One of the darkest things that could happen, and something that would completely shatter Gyumja, is if that knife was actually used to kill her son. Imagine a player approaching her in the dorm while she's crying, saying, "Thanks for this," and showing her the bloodied knife. I swear, if this happens, I'm deleting this channel. But the darkest theories of all are the ones involving Jun-hee's baby. This could go in so many devastating directions, from her delivering the baby, only for it not to survive, to her giving birth safely, only for the frontman to take the child away forever. Or maybe the worst of all, she gives birth, and both she and the baby die by the end. Perhaps the baby survives a little longer, suggested by the crying we hear at the end of the teaser, but eventually dies due to a lack of medical care. Another dark theory could be that a player strikes Jun-hee in the stomach, causing her to miscarry. Maybe those drops of blood we see are from Jun-hee losing her baby. But I think the most twisted plot twist of all, the one that would truly shock everyone, is if player 333 betrays player 222 in the final round and kills her to win the prize money. Imagine Jun-hee crying, begging for her life, begging for the life of their child, only for Myung-gi to coldly say he doesn't care, reminding her that he told her to have an abortion, and then kills her on the spot. That would break everyone watching. Now, I don't think any of this will actually happen in Season 3, but I do think it would make for a very compelling video. Let me know, what do you think is the darkest and most shocking plot twist that could ever happen in Squid Game?